Karnataka erupted after the government of Karnataka chose Banu Mushtaq to be inaugurating the Dasara festival. After much of the backlash and protests, finally the matter went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court now upholds Karnataka government's decision to invite Banu Mushtaq as Dasara chief guest. The petition against this invite had claimed that Mushtaq's participation will only hurt Hindu religious sentiments, as she has made anti-Hindu statements in the past, and of course there are some pujas etc. which she can't participate because she is not Hindu. Supreme Court though has rejected the appeal filed by the petitioner challenging the Karnataka High Court's order. In fact, the Karnataka High Court earlier had said that they cannot interfere in this matter as it's a government event, and the constitution does not allow any interference in a matter of this kind, where it's a state government's initiative and religion basically should not come as a question there. In fact, the state government's decision to invite International Booker Prize winning author Banu Mushtaq as a chief guest to inaugurate the Dasara festivities happened. It's going to be happening in Mysuru on September 22nd. During the hearing, the two-judge bench of the top court, headed by Justice Vikram Nath and Justice Sandeep Mehta, asked the petitioner about the purpose of filing this plea. Petitioner's lawyer, H.S. Gaurav, argued that the issue affected his client's rights under Article 25 of the Constitution. Supreme Court then asked him what the preamble of India states. Gaurav replied, saying secular. Then the bench added, but that should not interfere with my religious activities. Basically, if we are a country that is secular, secularism also means that nothing interferes in one's religion or religious activities. So according to Justice Nath, he asked the petitioner to go read the preamble again to the Indian Constitution, asked how he might expect the state, in reference here the state government of Karnataka, to differentiate between its subjects all on the basis of religion. The top court then dismissed the plea, stating that this is a state program. How can the state distinguish between A, B and C? Now, in this plea, the counsel urged the Supreme Court to pass an order contending that performing puja inside a temple was a religious act, not a secular one, and citing a series of judicial precedents, reminding the petitioner that the Dasara celebrations are in fact an event organized by the state government. The top court cited past precedents, including one in which Kannada poet K.S. Nisar Ahmed also was participated years ago. He was invited as a chief guest for Dasara itself, and at that time where your fundamental rights not affected. This is precisely what Justice Nath has asked the petitioner. When Nisar Ahmed participated the last time, were your fundamental rights not affected back then? Senior advocate P.B. Suresh, who appeared for the petitioner, told the court that invitation to Banu Mushtaq to inaugurate a religious ceremony infringes upon fundamental rights under Article 25, which says the state cannot interfere with religious activity of any citizen, further arguing that letting Banu Mushtaq perform religious ceremonies would breach the constitutional rights of the freedom of religious practices of Hindu community. He's argued that while she could inaugurate the event, she must not be allowed inside the temple, not only because she was a non-Hindu, but also because she's made some non-secular comments in the past. Well, there you have it. We're looking at Banu Mushtaq at this point allowed to inaugurate the Dasara festivities by the Supreme Court, even though the petitioner says that she's not Hindu and she can't basically carry out pujas, and the inauguration involves some religious activities. It's the Supreme Court now that has upheld, or rather dismissed, upholding the Karnataka High Court's order, saying that they cannot interfere in it because the country's constitution is secular. If a government is organizing an event and if they want to invite a Muslim to inaugurate a Hindu celebration, it's not wrong. At least it's not infringing on any constitutional rights. Let me bring in our guest, Brinda Arige, social activist. She is from Karnataka. We also have Dr. Rajiv Nanda, senior advocate of the Supreme Court. Both of you, thank you very much. Brinda, let me start with you, as you're from Karnataka. Huge hue and cry on Banu Mushtaq being welcomed as the chief guest for Dasara. We know Dasara is very important. It has huge sentiment attached to it, and it's largely a Hindu festival. But Dasara also, wherever I've grown up in Bengaluru, Karnataka, Mysuru, I've covered Dasara multiple times. It's all a congregation of cultures and celebration of people, of just the art and festivities, along with, of course, the religious festival. It's also about culture, art, and a lot more. So Banu Mushtaq inaugurating it resulted in uproar among the Hindu community, at least the right-wing community in the Mysuru region, saying that this is absolute disrespect. How can she carry out pujas and how can she be part of Hindu religious programs? It's not possible. Bring another Hindu guest as a chief guest. How did one receive this in Karnataka?
I think the general public, the citizens of Karnataka, really have no problem because we are so proud that a Kannadiga has won the Booker Prize award. She has made us proud not just as Karnataka Kannadiga, but as an Indian. And Dasara Nabila, like you pointed out, is a Hindu festival. But in Karnataka, it is a state festival. And all tourism revolves around this state festival. And this state festival, like you mentioned, is celebrated by everybody, irrespective of religion, caste, or creed. So there is no one group that can usurp and hold monopoly over Dasara. There may be certain pujas over there that are done by Hindu priests, but that does not stop any other Kannadiga from participating in those pujas also. Now, that said, what Banu Mushtaq has been promoting and what her book is also talking about is the values of courage, of service, of wisdom. All of that is what is resonated as a legacy of Dasara also. Dasara's legacy is not just the pujas. It is much beyond all of that. It is the people, it is our culture, it is our language, our history, our heritage, our art. It's all of these things put together. So no one group, I would even want to add a right-wing group, usurp it and say that, she cannot be allowed. It is only ours, our sentiments are hurt. I don't think common people's sentiments are hurt. We are very proud and we are very happy that a woman so worldly accomplished has been invited to inaugurate the Dasara. And like you pointed out, like your channel pointed out just now, there was a man earlier. Nobody had anything to say about the man. He was also a Muslim. But here, because she's a woman, so, most of the political parties and groups talk a lot about women, women's rights, equality, but they refuse to extend that respect and dignity to women when it matters. And now it matters, and I'm so happy the Supreme Court has put its foot down and said,
one of
my
the contentions that the
supreme.
petitioner had is that Banu Mushtaq has made anti-secular comments in the past. In basically, some of her works was also endorsing Islam and speaking about her religion. So it's not secular. So why are you forcing us to have a non-secular person be part of it?
Every Indian under the Constitution has the right to have their own views, opinions, even dissenting views and opinions. Nobody can stop. That does not mean she says that I don't like India, I don't like anybody else in India. Has she ever made such a statement over there? Has she said that my religion is supreme and nobody else can come and talk otherwise about that religion or their own religion? We have a view about my religion. I have a view about my religion, and I have a right to talk about it. That doesn't mean I'm anti-secular. That doesn't mean I don't respect other religions. Just because I don't talk about other religions, does it mean I'm anti? No. I have a right to talk about my religion. I have a right to talk about my personal culture or my, the population that I come from, the group that I come from, the caste that I come from. I have a right to it. I speak loudly, I speak vocally, I am articulate, yes, but I haven't said anything about others. Does that make me anti-secular? No, right. She has a right to it.
So the Supreme Court ultimately, its verdict is binding. We are just basically trying to get to the nuances of this, what this means in a larger sense, because we are such a country that is so polarized today. This will certainly set precedents for events to come in the future, and therefore it's important to discuss. But Dr. Rajiv, I will come to you on the question of how you interpret this bench's insistence that Dasara is a state program And basically, in a way, it's blurring the line between culture and religion altogether. I will come to you right after a short break. Do stay with us. All right, let me bring in our panelists on that. Dr. Rajiv, your take on the Supreme Court dismissing this on 3 counts, saying that this is a secular country, we cannot interfere with the government state program. But the government program also involves religious practices, there is puja that is going to be involved, and that's precisely the stand of the petitioner. He took that stand while saying that we can't have her participate in pujas because a non-Hindu is just not allowed inside some temples. So at least respect our feelings there. Interpret that for us.
With utmost respect to the Supreme Court of India and today's verdict, I'm not here to criticize what the Supreme Court has said. I'm here to let me interpret the Constitution as I feel as a constitutional practitioner in the Supreme Court of India. See, this is a state function. State comes under Article 12 of the Constitution of India, which says that any instrumentality of the state or state itself will be subject to the proceedings filed against them. So this is rather a case where Supreme Court or the High Courts under 226 could have interfered. Yes, it is a state activity. Had it been a private activity, yes, perhaps there would have been the question about the courts exercising their jurisdiction. But not today. Today is a state function. And now I come to the second part of it. The Supreme Court said that it is India is a secular country. Secular doesn't mean that secularism cannot override Article 25 to Article 30, the freedoms given to manage their own religious affairs. This is purely and strictly a religious function. You may invite people from all over the other religions to come and participate, but certainly not, you cannot force somebody who's not from the religion, and certainly not after it has been opposed. This is the problem. It is not that the question of the state could have or state could not have invited. State is very well within their jurisdiction to invite anybody. But then when they invite people from the religion of which the function is not, like in the present day, it is the Hindu religion's function. So if a non-Hindu is invited, and especially when it is opposed, then it becomes the court's duty to protect the sentiments and rights of that particular religion. Here the court ought to have interfered and said that, look, now since it has been objected by certain people, and this is a particular religion's function, it is a religious function where she will be not only participating, she will be heading that function, she will be inaugurating that function. It is so unfortunate that the majority's view has not been majority, or a particular community who's objecting to it. Please do not impose such kind of things on us. And this kind of stoppage has not been done. What my sister just now said, that Kannadiga and women and all that, I respect a women. I respect secularism. But when it comes to be objected by certain people, and especially from that particular religion, then certainly the Article 25 to 30 will prevail. They will have the say, and the courts ought to have interfered here.
You know, We also have Mr. Grover joining us in the panel. Thanks, sir, for taking your time out. Karnataka's Banu Mushtaq, who's so celebrated for her works, she had to really go through a lot of embarrassment. And this is, it's hurtful in a way if a person who was invited with such respect to be part of the event. The right-wing brigade in Mysuru region went all guns blazing, claiming that she has made anti-Hindu remarks in the past, or basically she's not really secular. She speaks about Islam, etc. So why is the government pushing her on us? It's a Dasara Hindu festival. She should not be invited. She can't participate in religious pujas, etc. and temples where she can't enter. So why is the government insisting on having her? This is basically nothing short of appeasement politics. That's what the BJP called it.
Good evening, Navila, and everyone in the panel. First thing of all, before we get into why single out Banu Mushtaq is my question. Every year, the Chamundeshwari temple is visited by over 10,000 foreign tourists of different religions. Those who we can identify by their color and by their nationality that they're not Hindus. So why is it that, when they have had this kind of access, why we are targeting and singling out Banu Mushtaq, who's a Karnataka and an Indian also, and somebody who has in the past revered the deity, says that this is a vow that I had, and I'm glad that I'll be able to complete the vow. So, the very fact that she has that kind of reverence for the deity itself uh, should dispel any kind of difference thing. Yes, she is a revolutionary leader, as Bandaya Sahitya, as we call it in Kannada. The fact is, she has spoken about not religions, she's spoken about oppression of the backward, she's spoken about oppression of the women, and most of her writings have been limited to that and have highlighted that. And this is the reason why the Booker Prize has also come her way, and we should recognize the fact that she is somebody who's contributed to the upliftment of the society, not any specific religion, as is being said that it was Islamic or un-Islamic kind of a thing. So when over 10,000 foreign tourists who are identified as from other countries, they have free access to the temple. Why is it that Banu Mushtaq should be singled out today? We've had the great Nisar Ahmed, who was also the chief guest of the Dasara in 2017. So why have different yardsticks? Just because some right-wing groups want to agitate, some right-wing groups want to, get political mileage out
At
of
that
it.
time when Mr. Nisar Ahmed was part of, he was invited as a chief guest, was there any uproar? Any objection?
There was no uproar. No, there was no uproar at that time, and that is something that you should, think. What has changed in 7 years or 8 years now that we are seeing this? Certainly, it is being done for political mileage, and that's a very unfortunate thing. That if the same right wing wants to object to Banu Mushtaq, let them stand at the Chamundeshwari temple every day and see to it that no foreign tourist enters the temple, or no other Sikh or Christian enters the temple. So this is something where I feel very surprised that we're making this as an issue, and I'm glad that the courts have given support to this issue, and even her own writings and statements are there on record that it's a long pending vow of visiting the Chamundeshwari temple, and she's happy that she'll be able to do it. So you have to respect her reverence to the deity itself. The temple belongs to the deity. The temple does not belong to any political party. The temple doesn't belong to any right-wing group. That they should have these kind of objections and even fight for it.
Brinda, Banu Mushtaq's invitation there, her participation, is this a step towards inclusivity? Would you see this as a welcome move, something that should be adopted across? But yet at the same time, you have the Hindu activists who say that if this happened in a Muslim festival or anything that has a Muslim-centric ritual, there would be such resistance to have anyone outside the religion. So why should we be so secular when secularism is basically two ways, always? Why are we not allowed to follow our religion with that much zeal when the Muslims are not so open?
let us place on record the Karnataka Dasara festival is a state festival. It is a celebration of cultural integration. It is also the celebration of our history, heritage, language, like I said, all of this, but it is also the celebration of unity and inclusivity and mutual respect, because now the chief minister has agreed and invited Banu Mushtaq to come. Now you made this comment that why the Hindus are asking Islam or Muslim festivals don't allow us. Why do we get into hypothetical situations over there? This is a state festival. She has been invited and she is a woman who has accomplished, and we must be proud about it. Now, if the Muslims do invite, will you go? Don't we have iftar dinners and lunches? Haven't people gone? So what are they talking about? If you want to go and do your namaz, you can also go. I don't know if any mosque will stop you. You have to cover your head and you go. If you know the chanting over there, go and do the namaz. I'm sure nobody's going to stop you, but do you want to do it? So let's not get into hypothetical situations and questioning. Right now, we need to say nobody can claim monopoly over Karnataka Dasara except the state of Karnataka and its people. Okay. And that is what we want to reiterate here, because that is the unity, inclusivity, and mutual respect. Because here we are talking of integration. Here we are talking of secularism. Here we are talking of the constitution embodying itself in the festival called Dasara in Karnataka.
Right.
Let us not allow anybody else to usurp it. It is the people of Karnataka who are celebrating it, not anyone.
But people of Karnataka's Mysuru region have objected to it. The place where it's happening, those are the locals who have objected to it, along with the BJP, of course. And they have a sizable the large number of people who have objected to this. It's not just one or two voices that came out.
Then let's go back to what Mr. Vijay Govar said. Please stop all the 10,000 tourists who are coming in over there. Do not allow them to come
Double standards.
Yes, and we don't want these double standards. We welcome everybody.
Right. Mr. Grover, you had a point to make on that?
Multicultural state.
Yeah.
You just wanted to add to a fact that, if you know the Nagur Dargah, the earth there, the procession starts with the customary visit to the Shiva temple, and the pole of the Nagur Dargah, when it's taken out, the sandalwood for that is given from the Shiva temple. So this is something, we've had cultural heritage where the people have, lived together with that kind of thing. So,
right. So this is sheer politics in your eyes. As I barely have a minute here, Dr. Rajiv, would you want to conclude to us on what kind of precedent this sets? Does it set precedents for religious, cultural, government events in the future?
I will repeat here at the cost of repetition. I will say that it is state function. That is why all the more reason for court to have interfered here. Now, let me dispel this belief that this belief is being created in all over India, and perhaps this was the belief created in the court also, that it is a question of Hindu and Muslim. It is certainly not the question of Hindu and Muslim. It is the question of Hindu and non-Hindu. This is a certainly admitted a Hindu festival, and if Hindus have the freedom to practice their religions the way they want and exclusively to them, Article 25 and 30 up to 30 guarantees that. In the name of secularism and progression and inclusivism, you cannot override the sentiments of the majority people of this country. Please let us, wait for the stage to come, then we are ripe to that kind of mentality. Okay. Presently, we are not.
Okay, if Brinda wants to make a comment, I've got to slip into
inclusivity. It is a festival of inclusivity. Yes, there may be pujas, there may be Hindu ceremonies, but all of that done, you cannot stop me from participating in those ceremonies. Because I am an Indian.
26th January or 15th August or 2nd of October ceremony. The state government.
Karnataka Dasara is a state festival. Our taxes are utilized over there. We do not say, please give only Hindu tax and don't take Muslim and Christian tax. It is a state festival and it is a tourist attraction. And let us be very clear, it is unity, diversity, celebration of mutual trust and secularism.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you all of you. I will wrap it right here. Really, really appreciate all of you joining us.